Hello, Peter. What's happening? We have sort of a problem here. Yeah, you apparently didn't put one of the new cover sheets on your TPS reports.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry about that. I forgot.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the NEETwork, the podcast for all things NEET. I'm Theo, and with me, as always, is my friend Dexter.
Hello, everybody.
I guess a lot's been going on in the world of NEETdom. First is this this big dip in the stock market, which feels weird. We did just do an episode where we kind of talked about how we've lost faith in the financial institutions, and then the very next week, huge dip in the stock market and cryptocurrency market.
The SEC is onto us. They're watching us.
Yeah, they want to keep us from buying more GameStop.
No, those basement dwellers. They can't just keep buying
The meme stocks.
the meme stocks. They're
Yeah.
making money.
And
No.
the mainstream media is blaming the Omicron variant of COVID. But like we said in that last finance episode, these markets are manipulated all to shit. So who knows? This could be like another 2008 scenario where they intentionally crash the market to consolidate more power in their hands. The people on top, that is.
I also think that that's very. I think that's BS. If I gotta say it,
You think my theory is BS?
I don't think the Omicron variant is stopping people from investing in the stock market. I can't see any kind of connection between the two, unless it's like people have to pull out of their like security funds just to do what they need.
Here's the thing, right? 95% of all of this market ownership is stacked on top. Like, the people with billions of dollars are the people who really control the market. A bunch of normies selling off their stocks is not going to dump the prices the way that across the whole market, the way that the last week has managed to do.
We talked about this last week where it's like if you really want to do anything or make any money, you got to dump billions into it to make anything happen.
Exactly.
And the only people capable of doing that are those hedge funds and the
Right. And what exactly this means, I'm not sure, but hopefully you were able to pull out before the big drop. I did sell off a lot of my crypto before the big drop, but not my stocks. And unfortunately, I mean, I haven't sold them yet, but I am pretty red right now.
well, if you haven't sold them, at least they can always find their way back up eventually.
Right, and the last episode, I said the only price movement that matters is the short squeeze, and we're not there yet.
As far as we know.
As far as we know, but something even worse is happening, something more pertinent to NEETs, and I'm afraid all of us are going to have to tighten our belts because
please. Oh, don't say it.
I have to, Dexter.
No,
I have to.
Please. No, it's not happening.
The supply chain shortage is now affecting
No.
our chicken tenders.
No! How could this happen?
Yep, an article posted in our Discord is now talking about the supply chain crisis now threatening chicken tenders.
How could this happen?
Basically, we could talk about the whole supply chain crisis. Basically, what happened was part of it is COVID, and the other part is, from what I understand, everyone who ordered stuff last year now ordered twice as much this year, and now there's like container ships just hanging out in harbors and stuff, but there's no one to unload, there's no one to move the containers out of the loading dock, and it's just a huge traffic jam. It's ridiculous.
I think it has something to do with What they basically made no private truckers allowed in those ports.
Really?
Yeah, they got rid of private truckers. Now they have to be like contracted through, I think the state,
Wow, that's
and
ridiculous.
so like truckers aren't going to pick things up, and then things aren't getting loaded off of ships.
When did they get rid of private truckers?
It's been a while. I think that's part of the reason, but the media's been real quiet on it.
We're facing a shipping crisis. It seems like the last thing you'd want to do is just cut off an entire part of the shipping industry.
I think it's because I think it happened when they were talking about like the pro electric. I don't know
Oh,
if it's
yeah.
cutting off private truckers as much as it's going pro electric and saying unless you're using an electric truck.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because all of the electric semis I've seen in my life,
Yeah,
right?
I think it happened around the same time as the electric push, and it's stopping private truckers from going in and doing the work that was needed.
Mhm. But, a couple quotes from this article. Um, "The shelves have been empty recently. Restaurants have been out of chicken tenders, and that makes it very difficult when you have kids that have limited options." This is like someone they're interviewing from the article. "But you know what, Karen? No. Your kids can starve. I want my chicken tenders."
Limited options. Yeah, right. We all know the real reason they want those tendies.
What is it?
Because there's nothing else to spend your good boy points on.
Right. Well, speaking of spending, the very next paragraph is the price of a value pack of chicken tenders has gone up nearly $1 per pound since this time last year, from $3.02 to $3.99 on average, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. So, what is that in good boy points?
That's at least taking the trash out 3 more times.
Oof, oof. Wow. Maybe like how many tendies can unloading and then loading the dishwasher buy you? Because that's a pretty big one. Like, I find taking the trash out to be easy.
The dishwasher would get you about a half plate of tendies.
Yeah, even like major chain restaurants like Kentucky Fried Chicken are starting to omit tendies. So no more getting mommy to drive us to Wendy's to get our chicken tendies.
How could this happen?
Son of a bitch. Next they'll come for the sauce. Like, they've already actually, now that I think about it, they've already limited, like, I think if you go to like a chain restaurant now, it's like two packets of sauce now.
It really can't get any worse than this, can it?
Yeah.
We're in the darkest timeline.
Welcome to the end, boys.
The tenderless.
It's like Waterworld, but with chicken tenders.
The tendyless timeline. How could this happen?
There is no safe harbor in the supply chain right now. We see it across the board, but certainly you feel the pain most in tenders. From the article.
This article sounds like a riot. I actually didn't read it, but
It's really short. It's like a 5-minute read, but it is very funny. That's all the NEET news that I can think of.
yeah, I guess the only thing I could add is with the stock market crash, the crypto market did too, and I think Bitcoin lost like half its value.
Yeah, I think it was riding really high at like maybe 55, 60 grand and then dumped back down to 45.
And to those crypto people, that's a deep, 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 deep drop.
Oh man. That's worth extra shower duty at Ram Ranch. But for all of you out there, if you want to lament about the lack of chicken tendies or your crypto losses, maybe take a look at the NEETwork Discord, where all things NEET are discussed.
I do it every day when I wake up.
Right? Oh, I have to wake up in a world where there are no chicken tendies. When we've grown the NEET community some more, we plan on hosting some totally free events like watch parties, games, and whatever else we can think of. For now, the NEETwork Discord is a great place to get to know other like-minded NEETs, discuss culture and hustle, and share your dank memes. Tonight, though, we're doing a more relaxed episode for the holidays, where we talk about movies for NEETs. Though I specifically want to avoid anime since we already talked about that.
No! Yamero!
How dare I besmirch the good name of anime?
But there's so many good anime movies about NEETs that portray them as the bane of society.
Right? Well, wouldn't we not want to talk about those then?
I think that's an important topic to cover.
Yeah, and we certainly will get to that, but that won't be for a few more episodes. I have it up on the schedule, but I can't remember exactly where it is. And also we won't dive deeply into any particular movie because that's something for the NEET book club. Right now I just kind of want to do an overview. And I don't know how long this episode's going to be because I can't for the life of me think of that many movies about NEETs specifically. Can you, Dexter?
I'm not much of a consumer, as is.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, honestly, it doesn't feel like it's a very popular story subject, since like the common stigma around NEETs and NEETdom in general is, the hikikomori, the shut-ins.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if we expand our definition of NEET to like the outdoor NEETs, we could maybe talk about the homesteading movies,
Hmm.
but those are not super super popular either.
Maybe. The only like specifically NEET movie I can think of from the West is called Grandma's Boy. Have you ever heard of that one?
I would have to look at the cover.
It's pretty old. It's probably like a good 15 years old. It's basically about a couple of guys who are pretty much every NEET stereotype and a couple extras. They live in their grandma's basement. They play a lot of video games. They're developing a video game as part of the story, a lot like Eric Baroni.
Oh, I've never seen this.
Yeah, they're definitely not made out to be aspirational people, but they are the heroes of the story.
It's like the one guy in Shaun of the Dead that lives in Sean's house.
Oh yeah, that's a good NEET movie.
Well, Sean's not a NEET though. I think he works at a grocery store.
Yeah, that is like one of the kind of NEET themes that I want to talk about here in a couple minutes. Is there any reason why you think? I guess you just mentioned it. Like why you think there isn't a lot of NEET movies, just because it's hard to make a movie about someone who never leaves the house, or like that stereotypical NEET.
Yeah, it's hard to make a movie about someone like that because a lot of people can't really. I'd assume it's because a lot of people can't relate, and because Hollywood is lazy and they'd rather just rehash the same thing.
Yeah, they'd rather make another cape shit Marvel movie.
Yeah, I mean, you see, they always kind of portray them as the same thing, right? The
Right.
the like person with no aspirations, apathetic to the outside world, doesn't want to do anything, just won't contribute to society, and just is like a nobody person, right?
I was about to get to that where I think that Hollywood is absolutely a powerful propaganda tool, and the people on top don't want us aspiring to be people who don't quote unquote contribute to society. But every so often, we get like a Freudian slip of the from the Hollywood people in the form of movies that have neat themes that subvert the narrative, or maybe like the movie seems like a good idea at first, and then we the like non-Hollywood people kind of adopt its themes as our own. Although at the same time, I will admit it would be really tough to write a story about a character who is a shut-in and just wants to be left alone by society.
Exactly. I mean, I know there's one out there, but I couldn't tell you the name of it. You know what? If you've ever seen one about one in the comments, leave one.
Yeah, actually, I wanna see like a legit NEET movie if you can think of one. But before we get to like some of the themes we might look for in a movie, what would you specifically look for, Dexter?
Um, we've said it a couple of times. The common NEET stereotype is the hikikomori.
Mhm.
The done to death character trope of the in-house shut-in who
Right.
doesn't do anything. I'd like to see someone maybe struggling with making money work out while also not while also fighting the societal norms. and not working the wage cage.
Right, someone like escaping the wage cage.
Yeah.
That could be interesting. Huh.
Maybe a character who also fights with like social anxieties could be an interesting subject. I know at work, at my own personal cage, I'll be sitting at my desk and I'll get a call from outside and I'll like start sweating.
Oh my god.
Back will get drenched. And I'll be like, oh no, I have to interact with customers.
Interesting. I didn't know you interacted with customers at your work.
Very rarely. But when I do, it makes the impact all the more like intense.
I remember in my Air Force days, anytime my phone rang, I was like shivering because it could be like someone with more stripes than me who's just calling me to tell me to come in and do some bullshit or yell at me or whatever.
For me, it's more along the lines of since I work in, to a degree, quality assurance, it's always an unhappy customer.
Oof.
They never call you to tell you how good of a job you're doing.
Right, exactly. Yeah, same for me too. Your superior never calls you because he's happy with what you did. It's always to be mad at you.
And so I see it and I get real nervous.
Yeah. But I guess like you brought up the most obvious NEET theme is this drudgery and toxicity of employment. I guess both of our stories refer to the office because the Air Force, let's face it, you're spending most of your time in an office. The most obvious choice for that theme is Office Space. Have you seen Office Space?
I thought the Air Force always spent their time behind a 5-course dinner with.
That is one stereotype, but the other branches refer to us as the Chair Force. Because, like, rather than be boots on the ground, we'll just hit a button and send a drone to blow up something we don't like.
I want you to be honest with me.
Yeah?
Are they wrong?
No, they're not. I was a paper pusher like 95% of the time at work. I probably flew in a plane, because I was aircrew, I probably flew in a plane less than 100 times in the 6 years I was in the Air Force.
Neat.
Yeah, it was cool. It was maybe a little too high pressure for me, but it was cool the times I did it. Office Space like hits all of the points, at least for an office environment. You know, you got your shitty boss, you got the one guy at the office that everyone picks on, you got work tasks being literally pointless, but you have to keep doing them, and then my favorite, time thievery.
So, basically just another day in the office.
Pretty much. Like my last like 6 months in the Air Force were just raw time thievery.
It kind of feels like a good portion of my time has been that recently.
Mm-hmm.
Though, they threatened me to come in overtime the other day. And
are they making you come in overtime?
they basically asked me to come in overtime, and I was like, "Well, what do you need me to do?" And they told me what they needed me to do, and I was like, "I don't have anything that's priority. I can just like knock that out today." And they tried to tell me no, not to do that,
That's retarded.
but I did it anyway, and it got done.
Right. Yeah, you didn't even need to stay, but they were threatening you with you have to stay overtime to do this. You can't just do it during your normal day.
It wasn't so much like threatening me to do it, but it was like it felt like so many people had to have had to like play a part in this task that was really just like
Huh.
that didn't really need that many people to play a part in it.
Right. But I think Office Space like spoke to a lot of people so much that there's a handful of shows that try to capture the magic of that movie, but I'm not sure any of them really manage it. But to be fair, I also don't watch them.
I would say maybe The Office kind of hits it like a little bit, but at the same time, it might be a little bit too sitcom-ish.
Possibly. I've never seen The Office. I know it's the no, God no, please no, that one. But I would say yeah, probably too sitcom-ish, and like I'm sure The Office is great, but like it took a whole show to say what Office Space took only a movie to say, right?
Yeah, and at the same time, I haven't seen a lot of The Office myself.
Mhm.
Um,
I'm sure some of the jokes are really funny. Actually, isn't The Office it's called hentai and it's art?
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's a good one. I like that one.
It's a really popular show for a reason,
Alright.
but I consume so little popular media
Right, right.
that I've just, never watched it.
Same. I wouldn't say I'm a consumer, but I like a good movie every once in a while. I think the last movie I went to see in theaters was Sonic the Hedgehog, like 2
Okay,
years ago.
that movie was unreasonably good.
That movie was a lot better than I thought it would be.
It was I was shocked.
But I like, that was the kind of movie where I didn't care if it was good.
Just wanted it for the meme of it, right?
The meme, yeah, I'm going to meme. And I was gonna see it regardless of the character redesign.
I mean, same here. Jim Carrey did a really good job as Eggman.
Yeah. But the next theme that I think is really the big theme for NEETs is this idea, like there's quite a few movies like this that are like, it's a society that is sick, and there's an enlightened minority that can kind of see the sick society. Does that make sense?
Yes and no. I have my own opinions on this. First of all, we live in a society. Speaking of which, this is related. It's always interesting how the person who supposedly, opposes the societal norms in these movies is portrayed as mentally ill or unhinged, like in Joker.
Interesting. Okay.
Like, have you ever noticed how that person who sees society for what it is typically the like hardcore outcast of the movie and is in a lot of cases portrayed as mentally ill to some degree, kind of socially impotent.
Let's see. I could probably name like 2 or 3 movies that are like that. I mean, the Joker, really, some people say rips off, some people say pays homage to Taxi Driver, which is almost the same movie, if you really think about it. I could see the idea that, well, like, it's always, though, the mentally ill character is an outcast because the society outcasted him because the society is sick, right? Let's just take Joker, for instance. Joker wouldn't be Joker if Gotham City didn't treat him the way that it did.
I guess the second half of Joker, he's a neat.
Kind of, because he loses his job.
He loses his job. He lives with his mom.
Yeah, that's very neat. Like, honestly, if Joker like had a good time being a clown, like a professional clown, I'd say that's a pretty comfy job.
I don't know. I don't think I could pass clown college.
No,
No, I don't think I could pass clown
to
college.
the seltzer party is too much for you.
Yeah, there's a lot of subtle nuances that I don't understand.
Right. But if it worked for him, then it worked for him, you know? It was just Gotham was a shitty place to live. But yeah, I think, like, Joker
Too many honks to give.
too many honks, not enough. Like, yeah, I suppose, like, Joker, I don't know if you've ever seen Falling Down, but that's another very similar movie about an outcast who is unhinged and goes on a rampage.
Falling down. I don't think
Real old one, like, probably early '80s.
when I think of like workplace unhinging people, I kind of think of American Psycho, I guess.
Okay, American Psycho. I've never seen that one, but
I
I've heard it's good.
I haven't actually watched it all the way through, but
Okay.
from the impression I've gotten and what I've heard, it kind of sounds like he's a little unhinged and is like daydreaming about murdering people, if not actually murdering people.
Right, right. But it's kind of left open.
Yeah,
Interesting. And he's like an office drone type character.
I think he's like a high up member of Wall Street.
Oh, cool. Like a Wolf of Wall Street type guy.
Yeah, kind of.
All right. Now that's an interesting point you bring up, because all of the examples I was going to think of was not people who were mentally unhinged. I was going to bring up the classic example of this kind of movie, The Matrix.
Okay.
So, like, and we even get the idea of being enlightened to the normie narrative or the lies of society from this movie, you know, the red pill versus blue pill thing.
Well, I guess which would you take, the red pill or the blue pill?
I already took the red pill a long time ago. I think the fact that we're doing this podcast says that we took the red pill,
Yeah, it's kind of unavoidable.
right?
How it is, I guess.
And as far as the Matrix goes, there's not really that many neat themes. Basically, just taking the red pill and seeing society for what it is, or staying asleep with the blue pill. But I do have to say, in the beginning of the movie, Neo has a comfy little hacker neat pad and a shitty office job, but that's about it.
What are you talking about? That's like the normie pad of life, man. That's the dream.
Not that I've ever. The reason I don't learn how to hack is because I don't really see any particular use for it, but it would be cool to have like a hacker pad.
It'd be kind of cool to be like maybe a white hat hacker. That's a job that I wouldn't mind doing someday. If I ever had to have a job, you know.
In the same vein as The Matrix, there's this movie that has a lot of themes that The Matrix lacks, and that's the idea of seeing through the illusion. When Neo takes the red pill, all it does is, if I remember right, it's like a tracking program that tells Morpheus where he is so they can go get him in the real world. But I think the movie They Live demonstrates the illusion really well in quite a literal sense. Have you seen They Live, out of curiosity?
I have not.
Okay, maybe you've heard the line, "I'm here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of gum."
Okay, I have heard that.
Yeah, that originated in They Live. It's the cheesy like one-liner from They Live. But a plot point in that movie is these sunglasses that quite literally lift the illusions that the villains of that movie are using to control the people, to control the normies.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen this before. Actually, I think you're talking about Spy Kids 3D, right?
Excuse me, what?
You know, the part of the movie, it's towards the end when they're fighting the big robot in the real world, and they have to have the 3D glasses on to see everything.
So wait, so I remember the robot. I remember like I remember that it was like a video game, and then at the end, the video game came into the real world, and that they called all of the characters from the previous movies to fight the robots, but I don't remember the glasses.
Okay, I remember this because it just was so uncanny how they handled it. Like they're like, "I need glasses," and they would like throw them at the people, and then they'd like snap on their faces. You know, like they wouldn't even catch them and put them on; they'd just snap on their faces.
That's weird. I got to see that movie again.
Yeah, you gotta watch it, man. It is surreal coming back to it after all these years.
But anyway, yeah, it's never as simple as like put on the sunglasses and you'll see the truth. But it's the way that I kind of see it, when you start to reject the narrative, when you take the red pill, as it were, you almost kind of begin training this ability to see through the devices used to control the normie masses. What do you think of this? Am I off base here? Does this make sense?
Let me think.
Kind of like there's a I guess maybe a better demonstration would be like the expectation versus reality meme.
Basically, normies are seeing the world in their rose-tinted glasses, right? They're normie-tinted glasses.
Right.
And it kind of takes a developed skill to see past that.
Uh-huh. Like think of it this way. Like this would be an example for the real world. If you haven't taken the red pill or put on the sunglasses, you see college as kind of the greatest opportunity to advance yourself into wealth. But when you put on the sunglasses, you see $35,000 in debt. Not $35,000 in debt, even more than that, 10 times that.
Yeah, and you see a degree mill.
Yeah, degree mill, worthless degrees. So yeah, expectation, I'm going to be a doctor. Reality, $350,000 of debt.
And
that's what I'm getting at.
you like are just qualified to work at like Burger King as like management, maybe.
Yeah. Even with a quote unquote good degree, you might net a job at Starbucks.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because everyone has that degree, right? So unless
Right.
you really, really stand out, you're just another person.
Right. But I think a really important scene in They Live is this big fight between the two main characters kind of midway through the movie. And the scene is Roddy Piper, let's see, Roddy Piper was like a WWE wrestler who starred in this movie, which is pretty funny. He's trying to get his friend to put on the sunglasses. His friend is so resistant to the idea of putting on these sunglasses that they actually fight. And the scene is demonstrative of how difficult it is to show someone the truth, even when you have the evidence right there for them to use. Using that college thing, you'll show your boomer parents like, hey, this is why I don't want to go to college, because all of these other college kids are graduating and they can't find jobs and they're 6 figures in debt. But your boomer parents refuse to believe it.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add there.
No, just agree, disagree?
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay, yeah.
I'm still, my brain's still stuck back on Spy Kids 3D. I'm
You're
sorry.
still thinking about Spy Kids.
Zooming into my head and you see the monkey with symbols. That's what happens every time someone brings up Spy Kids.
I want to do that second podcast about us just talking about weird stuff. Maybe we should start with Spy Kids.
I mean, I definitely think that we should explore it more
Mm-hmm.
because I think I would have a lot to say.
Explore the deep lore of Spy Kids.
Oh yeah.
So I think this episode's probably going to end up pretty short, but that's fine. I'm just kind of trying to relax for the holidays. But speaking of the holidays, the NEETwork will be taking a Christmas break next week to write the next few episodes. So you can expect the next episode next year on January 7th. But I want to thank you all for listening all the way through to the end. If you like what you heard, you can help us grow in a few ways. We're still pretty small and always trying to grow the audience. So if you have friends who might be interested in the NEETwork, let them know about us. Any boost to our signal helps, and we treasure every new subscriber.
If you're listening on Podbean, leave a like and consider downloading the episode. If you're listening on YouTube, you can like, subscribe, and leave a comment to help out the algorithm. It only takes a moment, and you're helping a lot.
And if you'd like to support us in a more personal way, consider contributing to our Patreon at patreon.com/NEETworkPod. Your kind contribution goes toward paying for guest appearances, paid promotion, membership to various podcasting services. And I was going to say that we'd buy some chicky tendies with what's left over, but we're in the middle of a chicky tendy shortage. So we'll just have to go with bagel bites or something.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. Not nearly as good.
It really just can't. It just can't get any worse.
If it gets really bad, we might have to get taquitos.
What more will this world take from us?
God.
I'm gonna have to go to pizza rolls.
Actually, I kind of like pizza rolls.
I like pizza rolls too, but they're just not the same.
No, they're not as good as chicky tendies. But links to all these are in the description below. And even in these dark times of chicken tendy shortages, I just want to wish you all a good night and stay comfy.
Stay comfy.
It occurs to me that on recording this episode, we forgot to do the voiced Patreon shout-out. So I'd just like to take this moment to thank Kyla for your kind Patreon donation, and I hope other people can join in later on.